Okay, welcome along to a new video. This one here has been inspired by social media recently. There's a lot of posts I've seen going up from women asking the question, why are there no good men out there? There's plenty of us, just a lot of us have decided we want to stay single these days. And I'm going to share with you some of the reasons I picked up in my research here. And after I get through them, I'm going to give some personal opinions of my own on the subject. So, yeah, let's get into it. Alright, the first reason why men decide to stay single these days is independence and freedom. Many men value their autonomy and enjoy making decisions without having to consider a partner's preferences. And number two is focus on career. Men often prioritise careers and personal goals, finding that being single allows them to dedicate more time and energy to professional development. Okay, number three, this is a big one for most of us men, and it is fear of commitment. Some men may have a fear of long-term commitment or past experiences that make them hesitate to enter a serious relationship. Number four is financial considerations. Maintaining a relationship often involves financial responsibilities that some men may not be ready to undertake. Five is changing social norms. Societal expectations around relationships have evolved, leading to an increased acceptance of being single on both sides. Number six is enjoyment of social life. Men may prefer to socialise with friends without obligations that come with a romantic relationship. Seven, and this is the big one for us men, it's emotional readiness. Some men may feel they need more time to work on themselves or heal from past relationships before entering a new one. Number eight, personal interests and hobbies. Being single allows men to pursue personal interests and hobbies without any compromise. Number nine is relationship fatigue. After experiencing difficult or tumultuous relationships, some men may choose to stay single to avoid further emotional distress. And finally, number 10, it is a desire for self-discovery. Men may see being single as an opportunity for self-exploration and personal growth. Alright, so there we are. There's some of the things that I found in just my research and why men prefer to stay single these days. For me, there's a good few on there, like personal development, readiness, that sort of thing. Like, I always feel that I need to work more on myself to get myself into that place where I want to spend romantic time with a woman. I have been through, I've made no secret of it in the past. I was married whenever I was younger. That broke up. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but I had pretty much put all my eggs in one basket with that relationship, and I was not by any stretch of the imagination ready to be the mid-20s, late-20s divorcee, which I eventually became. Took a bit of time to bounce back from that one there, but the big one for me, it's the trust issues is a big thing as well. Like, I don't think I was even on those tips there, but when trust is broken, it's very, very difficult to trust again. And for me, it wasn't the marriage that caused the damage for me whenever it comes to romantic relationships. For me, it came in the last relationship I had. And I'm the bigger fool, really, at the end of the day. I'm not going to give any names. But we tried twice. We did it for a while at the beginning. And it was just, there was a lot of banging of heads, let's just say. It was very, very controlling on her part, and the relationship ended probably about 4 to 5 years after it. We reconnected, and we're getting on a little bit better, but I'm not going to sugarcoat the whole thing in any way, shape or form here. The reason why my trust issues are so bad these days is because of what happened in the final week of that relationship. It got to the point where it was one of these controlling relationships, to the point where me having a job was one of the big factors in it. I came down to her house after work one evening, literally got into the car one Friday and left work, text, finished work, I'll see you soon. And being Friday, that was the day of the week, your pays in, your account, your car's kind of running on fumes. So you leave work, well, heading down to her place. I used the toilet before I left work, so it was like an hour's drive to her house. So used the toilet, got into the car, went, fueled up, drove down to her house. And when I got there, it was just a wall of silence and anger, like, what's wrong with you, sort of thing. You just, that's the other thing. Like, men are not friggin' mind readers. That's the one thing. If you're a woman watching this video, one of the big tips I can give you to dealing with us guys is, do not pull that nonsense where, if you don't know, I'm not telling you, sort of thing. Because if that happens to me these days, I'm ready for walking at that point. I'm just like, if you're not going to talk to me like a friggin' adult, off you go. Come back whenever you can, sort of thing. When you get into your 40s, the patience for that nonsense just dissipates completely. But I got to this girl's house this evening, and angry beyond words. Again, if you don't know, I'm not telling you. Eventually got it dragged out of her. What she had done was, I text her, I'm leaving work, and this is no joke. Like, this is going to be completely unbelievable. This is no joke. This last 3 things that happened in that week, the final week together. She went to her car and switched on her sat nav, and plotted the course from her house to where I was working at, and the journey estimated at about 57-58 minutes, sort of a thing. But sat navs recalculate all the time for what's going on, so that's an estimation for leaving, driving straight there at the speed limit, whatever. And of course, me having finished work, text, used the bathroom, went to get fuel for the car. That added an extra 10 to 15 minutes onto my journey down. So 10-15 minutes late, I got accused of being cheating with other women. Where were you at, sort of thing? Who is she? It was just a nasty, poisonous atmosphere. And after that, I was just like, it's ridiculous that 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm getting accused of cheating with other women. And like, if it only took me 15 minutes to cheat, I can just hand my man card on now, sort of a thing. But the relationship at this point was again going south for the second time, and she realised this. And a couple of nights after that, we were kind of not in the best of terms, and in all fairness, like, I never lived with her. I stayed over a few times here and there. We did sleep together a few times, and she knew just with the atmosphere that I had had enough, and I was just on the verge of ending it for the second time and moving on. And she came to me and she says, I've got good news for you. And she didn't say it, but she came over and she was holding her stomach, sort of thing. And I've got good news for you. Obviously saying that she was pregnant. So me being the guy that I am, okay, if there's going to be a kid involved here, we're going to have to try and make this work, sort of a thing. So for a few days, we were getting on great, as good as we could be. Me thinking that it was going to be a father. And a couple of days after that, a similar scenario happened with the work hours that I had at that point. I worked in the food industry, so it's one of those jobs where you just can't get up and leave at the end of it. The rules are a little less strict these days, but if something happens and production breaks down, let's just say, you kind of have to stay on to get it done. You just can't go and leave food on a production line and go home, sort of thing. You need to get it to its destination within the place. But something like that happened anyway. Work ran over, and again, I came home later than normal and got the wall of silence again. And the following morning, she came in and said to me, okay, I've got bad news for you. And she said, I just miscarried the child. She went into the bathroom, Used the bathroom, I heard it flushing, and she came out. I just miscarried, flushed it down the toilet, and I was like, okay, devastated. So, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to work. You and me's getting into the car. We're going to go to the doctor, get you seen, looked about, checked out, and whatnot. She'd flat out refused to do that, and a bit of an argument kind of erupted. I'm like, if you've miscarried, you need to go and get yourself checked out, sort of thing. So, you know, about a half an hour into this argument, I managed to get the truth out of her. She wasn't pregnant at all in the first place. She had lied, not just about being pregnant, but she had lied about miscarrying a child as well. Absolutely devastated. And I was just like, at that point, I just gathered up whatever I had at her place and left. And yeah, that's stuff like that there. That for me personally, major trust issues whenever it comes to the idea of even getting into a relationship these days. So, like, I'm not putting all the blame on the woman here. It's just where we're at now as men. We go through more than what people are willing to admit that we go through at times. And it is what it is, really, at the end of the day. So, when it comes to me and romantic relationships, I don't normally tend to put myself out there in that way anymore, because for me, the whole personal development thing and desire for self-discovery and whatnot, and getting myself prepared for a relationship, right now, where I'm standing at in life, a woman is really going to have to prove to me that she deserves to be in a relationship with me. And it's, in my mind, it's not fair that a woman has to be with a man that has to be talked into something. So that's where I'm at. I would say that's where a lot of men are at these days. So if this has been helpful to anybody out there, if anybody can relate as far as the men go, let me know in the comments below. And women, if this has been eye-opening and helpful to you, I would like to hear from you as well. So be gentle with me in the comment section. And if that ex happens to come across this video, yeah, I'm still hurt and broken by what you did and your lies, and we're never ever going to have a connection of any sort ever again. Right, that's going to do it. I'll talk to you in the next one.